we're hitting the waiver wire start of the season.
It's week
here, guys.
one.
It is.
It's week one. We have football this week.
Yes.
We have football this week. We are 2 days away from actual professional football. Cowboys at Eagles right here on NBC and Peacock. I'm a company man. And so people that have had their drafts already, Connor, might be going through their first waiver wire tonight.
Yeah, they hate their roster already. And what better way to start the NFL season than the Browns backfield? Quinshon Judkins,
we're so
Dylan
back.
Sampson, Jerome Ford. We are back and ready for week one because all of these guys meet our threshold of availability. Quinshon Judkins, 50%. Obviously, the other two guys that are expected, of course, to actually play and play more. Jerome Ford is at 54%. Dylan Sampson, the other rookie, at 52%, Matthew. If you're desperate, what do you make of this backfield? Because you got to be desperate.
Yeah, nothing screams desperation like trying to make sense of the Browns' backfield. But what I'll tell you is that, look, Quinshon Judkins has yet to sign with the team. Now, Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Brown Dealer, she's done a great job covering the Browns for years and years and years and years. She came out and said recently that she thinks that you may see Judkins this week, that, hearing that the sides might be close. But either way, you're not starting Judkins this week. But we all think here that if and when he signs and is with the team, he's going to fairly quickly establish himself as the best running back on the Browns. So if you don't need somebody, quote, this week, grab him, stash him. We think ultimately he'll be the best guy in what should be a competent Browns offense. That said, if you need somebody this week, you're looking around. I do think both Ford and Sampson are sort of interesting in a flex kind of way. So it's a 47.5 over-under, Connor. It's the second highest game in the slate. Browns are a 5.5-point underdog, and so Ford becomes sort of interesting because we expect Dylan Sampson to be the first and second down guy, and Jerome Ford to be the pass-catching running back here. Obviously, he's the one most familiar with Kevin Stefanski's system. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Kevin Stefanski, two-time Coach of the Year. Two-time. Not a lot of people are aware that he won Coach of the Year 2 times in a row. Or not 2 times in a row, but 2 times overall. What I was going to say is, but in the preseason, guys, Ford and Sampson split their time evenly with the ones. It wasn't just all Sampson. So you've got a bit of a committee here. And then when you think about the Bengals last year, allowed the 3rd highest catch rate to opposing running backs, that maybe Jerome Ford has some sneaky value this year. And as you saw, Connor, he's available in a lot of leagues. He's
available in more than half the leagues. And this is a game with a high total because we know the Bengals can score points, which means maybe the Browns will be playing a little catch up here. The Browns team total, guys, is 20.5. That's not that low for the Browns in this week. This is the week.
You're shaking your head like that is not a line you would have made.
Yeah.
Well, it's more a reflection on who they're playing as opposed to their talent. If they were playing the Broncos, it might be 13.
But they're not.
So
this is the waiver wire this week. So.
Yeah, and so it's difficult because the Bengals' run defense is putrid. It was putrid last year, bottom 5 defense. Yeah. But it's putrid in all regards. You can do whatever you want against the Bengals. And Kevin Stefanski, last time he had Joe Flacco, he was just uncorking it. And Flacco was throwing a million times a game. So not sure how it's going to look. I think the Browns' backfield, it's certainly the most confusing. Jacksonville's is up there too. Dallas is a little confusing too. But if you can solve this one and you figure it out, I think, and it's not so much for this week, but I think Judkins is now going too late in drafts.
I agree.
Where he's the guy who's actually got the upside, where he's a guy who could be, an RB2 guy that you're starting every week. He's not going to get that with Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson week in, week out, I think. So we're going to talk about our draft later on. But I took Judkins, I think, pick 116. I think once you get into that range, you want to take a flyer on the upside.
Yeah, I would just say for this week specifically, I think long-term upside, you prefer Judkins. If you need floor this week, I think it's Jerome Ford because I do think he'll be involved in the passing game. If I need upside, I'll say Sampson because I think he's got the best chance at a touchdown of the 2 running backs. I think the jury's still out on Dylan Sampson, Jay. I mean, I agree with you on Jerome Ford being kind of is what it is, but I think there's a chance that Sampson could be good. A day 3 pick there as well. But let's move on, Connor.
I got to give a shout out.
Hang on, go ahead.
In the comments, Jay Stabs. This is somebody that has watched a lot of waiver wire shows. Okay. Waiver wire show. When does the Hunter Henry portion start?
Oh, yeah, nice.
Stick around for tight ends.
Good question. Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, Hunter Henry owns real estate on the waiver wire show.
Been talking about him and Kenyon Drake for 4 years.
Oh, my goodness, Kenyon Drake. All right, another running back here, guys. Trey Benson, 61% availability, which is a little surprising for one of the better insurance backs in fantasy, I think. Against the Saints allowed 18 rushing touchdowns to running backs last year. That was tied for the most in the NFL, Jay. Is there a world where Benson's workload hopefully goes up after they invested 2 years ago a day 2 pick in him?
Potentially. I think while James Conner is healthy, though, it's going to be the James Conner show. I do think the Saints, I think their defense might be sneaky competent, where the defensive line is probably, it's one of the strengths of the team at this point, the linebacking core as well. We'll see. I think that this is going to be a game script where Arizona can run the ball. They've been hovering around touchdown favorites in New Orleans, which doesn't bode great for the Saints. They're touchdown dogs at home to a team that is an underdog to make the playoffs in the Cardinals. But Benson, he's got upside. I think this week, yeah, it's an interesting target. We'll see what they do. But ultimately, it's still James Conner's backfield.
Yeah, but I do think given, a long history of injuries for James Conner throughout his NFL career, we love James Conner here. And we're still doing a love-hate show on Thursday, and James Conner is going to be on the love list this week. Make no mistake. To your point, they're touchdown favorites against a Saints team that last year no team in the NFL gave up more rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs than the New Orleans Saints. So we do think there's a pretty good chance that James Conner gets into the end zone this week. I will say, however, that given that the fact they are a big favorite and that whether it's 1A, 1B, or it's just, an increase, we expect a bigger role this year for Trey Benson. So both as an insurance back for James Conner and on the chance that Jonathan Gannon was telling the truth that it's going to be more of a committee. I don't personally think it is. I think it's going to be 70-30. But I do think there's upside to Benson both in junk time this year and obviously down the stretch.
You'll love this
week. Junk time this week, I should say.
You'll like this one, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
On the weekend, I placed a wager on the New Orleans Saints to make the playoffs at plus 900.
Look at you.
Kind of the sequel to my Giants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saints plus 900. It's the second easiest schedule in football. The roster's not that bad outside of quarterback, which is the problem and the reason why they're plus 900. But I don't know. It's the NFL. Like when you play in an easy division and you have talent and there's variance with new head coach, OC, DC, you got two just kind of lottery tickets at quarterback. I don't know. Plus 900. Yeah.
I think they're favored in one game
Was
this
it a
year.
significant bet or just a little bit,
Like
a little bit of action
change.
in case?
Fairly significant bet. We'll see how it goes. With a large payoff.
Help yourself.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler to the moon.
The good news is I think they're plus 1,700 to win the division. So.
Oh yeah, they're probably not going to win the division, but
Yep.
you can sneak in at 9-8.
Yeah,
Show me some magic, Kellen Moore.
Yeah,
Brandon Staley, Renaissance season for Brandon Staley.
There you go.
He's back.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I appreciate your optimism on the show, Jay. Ollie Gordon, our other running back here, guys, he's got the Colts. He's 65% available. That is
Crazy.
That is crazy right
and what's
now.
weird is that that's got to be from leagues that are because I've been in drafts where he's going really early. Like I've done a lot of drafts this past week. I've been doing a lot of GuillotineLeague.com drafts, and it's like he's going early in those too, which I'm like sort of like you. There's no room for error in a guillotine league, but in standard redraft, again, with Jalen Wright not expected to play week one, what seems like a significant injury. And so Devon Achane, great news. He's going to be playing week one. We all expected this. But, the fact is Ollie Gordon is the backup to on an offense that doesn't have a lot of other people that can touch the ball. He's looked great in camp so far, Connor. Ollie Gordon, if Devon Achane were to ever miss any time, I think would easily be a starting running back in fantasy football. And I think there's some potential touchdown vulture in deeper leagues role immediately.
I mean, with Ollie Gordon, this is somebody 2 years ago, going into his final college season, he was supposed to be Amarian Hampton.
Yeah.
Like a first-round running back, workhorse back, can do everything for you. He falls off a cliff his final college season. There's a lot of questions of what happened to this guy, what happened to this program. And it feels like he's built up his stock again with a great rookie training camp after falling in the draft. And this is the perfect place for a guy like that to land because Mike McDaniel, say what you want about some of his flaws, he can dial up a run game.
How much of an injury risk do you think Devon Achane is relative to your average running back? Because it feels like he was banged up last year, but he played every game. It was his rookie season where he did miss time. He's not built like Derrick Henry, so you have the natural concerns there. But do you think he is a real outlier injury risk?
I think he's above average injury risk because of his size in the NFL, and that's just how it goes. And then you have his own teammate Tyreek Hill saying that on 3rd and short that they should go to somebody else. Jalen Wright, but now it's Ollie Gordon, so. Yeah, I think. Listen, number one, if he's out in your league, you should just pick him up. Two, if you have Achane, you should have already had him on your. You have to have him on your roster. It's almost like the Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet conversation right now.
For sure. Colts bottom 10 run defense last season as well, so it's a nice matchup week 1 for the Dolphins run game. Just other quick guys that I want to mention here. Jaden Blue was a full participant in Monday's practice report. There's a very good chance Jaden Blue leads the Cowboys backfield. He's out there more than 50% of leagues. We all love Amari and Hampton. Najee Harris left for basically dead. He's ramping up to play in week 1, Jay. I know you're very excited about this. You're wearing a Najee Harris.
You can hear the Najee footsteps.
Yes. But anyway, look, he's going to have a role. Woody Marks, we're still figuring out clarity in this Texans backfield. Is it Nick Chubb? Is it Dameon Pierce? Woody Marks seems to have the third down role. He's the guy that has the most upside, I think. I think he's really interesting. And I just want to mention Kenneth Gainwell, who is running with the ones. Again, we don't think Caleb Johnson necessarily has the trust of Aaron Rodgers. I am telling you, because I've seen this movie a million times, fantasy managers are going to drive themselves crazy on Sunday. Everyone that drafted Caleb Johnson is going to be like, why is Kenneth Gainwell getting work for the Steelers? What is Arthur Smith doing again? Jalen Warren got paid over the weekend as well. Real money, by the way. Jalen Warren got paid real money. I think he's probably the Steelers running back you want for those that still have drafts this week. But Kenneth Gainwell is going to surprise people about how much he plays.
I think so, too. Our favorite fantasy villain, Arthur Smith, will be back in full swing. Fire up Jonnu Smith. Fire up Kenneth Gainwell. All the favorites, playing all the hits.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.